On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Yodh by Mizmor. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it, and it's January.
The darkest month of the year.
So we're going to listen to some of the darkest, coldest, scariest metal there is. It's Black Metal January. And today we went with a newer album that's kind of a fusion of a bunch of things that I enjoy. It's Yodh by Mizmor. I can't remember how long ago it was that we talked about Cairn. It was over the summer, I think.
Was it?
I think it was sometime over the summer.
We didn't do it during Black Metal?
No, we did not. It was much more recent than that. But I was running out of ideas for black metal albums to listen to for the podcast. So
things that were near and dear to you.
Yeah, that I was attached to in some way, shape, or form. And I was like, hey, I like this album. Let's just talk about that, even though it's only been like 6 months since we talked about a different Mizmor album.
And it's just one dude.
It's just one guy. He just goes by his initials, which
ALN.
is ALN.
Unless his name is really Alan and he's just being weird.
Maybe his name is Alan. Who knows? He's only missing one letter then.
Right.
But he goes by his initials and has been making stuff since 2011, I want to say. So when his first demos came out, and things have been getting progressively more elaborate and well produced and everything.
This was very well produced.
This already was really well produced, and Cairn stepped it up even from here. But this is like a fusion of black metal and like funeral doom and bits of sort of ambient drone.
He described it as doomed black metal.
That's in a very appropriate way of describing it, I would think. This one has a lot more black metal influence on it than I think Cairn did. Not that it was absent from Cairn, but I think the type of black metal in Cairn was a bit brighter. More of the like a Falza Rauros style black metal where things are a bit brighter and a bit warmer and not as cold and depressing and frightening.
Sure.
This has that tone in it. I think this is infused with an older, more evil black metal.
You know, it's funny. While I was listening to this, it was kind of I don't know. I started to listen to it at my desk, and then I finished listening to it at home. But while I was playing the remastered version of Shadow of the Colossus. And so it fits so well with it.
I was listening to it while I was playing Dark Souls today. It fits also, pretty well there too. It's some dark, scary stuff. We'll talk more about it later.
Very bleak.
How are you enjoying? So you bought the remaster for Shadow of the Colossus then?
Oh yeah, I bought that a while ago. I've beat the game several times. I wanted to, because since I got the new PlayStation. Decided.
Well, it's an old PlayStation.
It's an old PlayStation. It's new to me.
It's new to you.
And so I had to load games onto it, and so I wanted to play.
That was one of them.
I mean, there's a stack of them I got.
A whole stack of games.
And I've already taken up 3/4 of the memory.
Nice.
On the thing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you can always plug in an
external,
big old external. Those aren't too expensive these days.
Right.
It's crazy how cheap memory has gotten over the last decade or whatever. Like 2010, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't in the position to be buying a terabyte hard drive, but I don't really know how much it would have cost.
Well, I bought in probably 2000. Well, was it 2000? Maybe it was before 2010. I bought a 500 gigabyte hard drive. Obviously, it was a spinny one.
Yeah.
And it was like $90.
Oh, my God. Now that would be How much is a terabyte hard drive these days?
A terabyte hard drive? I think they give them away with gas. I think if you go to the gas station.
Yeah. It's like you go to the grocery store, they have one ringer or one like crank for gas stamps, and they have another crank that spits out a terabyte hard drive.
Right.
It like is like $40 a terabyte?
Well, I bought a 2 terabyte one. It was $90.
90, okay.
For the 2 terabyte. Yeah.
So a single, about 45.
Something like that.
That sounds right to me in my head. I was thinking like 60, but that was also the last time I bought a terabyte hard drive was a couple of years ago.
I don't think it's like at the half mark. I think a terabyte hard drive is like 60, and I think the 2 terabyte is 90.
Just hardly that much more.
Right, but that's why I bought 2 terabytes.
Yeah, okay.
Extra $30, it doubles in size.
Why not?
Yeah,
why not? But yeah, I haven't had to buy a terabyte hard drive in a while because I haven't filled up the ones that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I have one plugged into my Xbox, which that one's probably more full than the one connected to my PC.
Really?
Because the one connected to my PC is mostly just raw audio for this, which I save them as MP3s instead of waves.
Sure.
And then
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and pictures and stuff. There's not really a lot of really big files on that hard drive. If I was like shooting video and stuff, then it would probably be pretty full. But I don't really shoot much video at all.
Right.
The one connected to my Xbox, on the other hand, I don't know if it's entirely full because in the grand scheme of things, I don't really have all that many Xbox One games.
Really?
Especially compared to how many Xbox 360 games I had. It's not a whole lot.
Is it backwards compatible with the Xbox?
It is.
It always is?
Yes. The Xbox One is compatible with the 360 and I think technically the original Xbox.
Really?
Because the 360 was backwards compatible with the original. And I think... I don't know. I have an original Xbox copy of Halo 2, but I haven't tried putting it into my 360 because I have the Master Chief Collection with Halo 2 Anniversary in it.
So why would you have 2 copies?
Yeah, I do not need to put Halo 2 into my Xbox One. But I don't know.
Then it would be Halo 3.
I technically have the I technically have Halo 1 through 4 in triplicate because I have physical copies for the Xbox 360 of all those original Halo games. And then I have the Master Chief Collection for my Xbox One, which contains all of those games. And then I have the Master Chief Collection on Steam.
Right, on your desktop.
On my PC, which also contains all those games. Most of the games I own are Halo.
And I've never played a Halo game.
Just multiple copies of Halo, essentially. But I had a lot of Xbox 360 games. I just didn't end up with that many Xbox One games. By the time I was junior in college, I kind of didn't play video games all that much.
Really?
D&D kind of crept into my life at that point.
Sure.
And I was also in college and just kind of not really doing a lot of things. I went through a period for a while where I had time to do stuff. I had time to do my hobbies and everything.
And you didn't do them.
But I didn't. I just sat and stared at Reddit or whatever.
Were you depressed?
I don't know. Probably. I don't know if that's really changed all that much. But
I said it's been an unbroken thing. I don't know what was different then.
But I, have gotten back into playing more video games.
Sure.
And
And you still do D&D too.
Well, yeah, I also do that. But it's like for a while there. And there was a while, there was a good 3 years when I first started playing D&D where I did have there was maybe not for a full 3 years, but it wasn't completely uncommon for me to be in some way involved in 3 games a week.
Really?
Because I started DMing and then Matt started DMing over over the internet, and then it just kind of our whole friend group just kind of started really getting into D&D, and I became involved in a lot of different games that happened. And for a while there, when I started DMing, there was a Star Wars game that I was playing in person.
Right.
That's the last campaign of anything that I've gotten to play in. Since
you've DM'd everything's been a DM.
Everything. Okay, that's the last in-person campaign. I need to specify that. I have played in plenty of other campaigns, but never in person.
Mm-hmm. It's different. It's way different in person.
I know, and it bothers me that I never get to play in person. I'm always the DM. I would love to play, and like part of what I'm doing with this campaign that I'm running for you and everybody else at the moment is I'm trying to run the type of campaign that I would enjoy playing. Because
making it kind of a little bit loose.
Yeah.
We can just kind of do what we want.
You guys get to choose what you want to do, and things, snowball depending upon what you choose. I lay out some initial, an initial conflict and throw some things in, throw some hooks and see what you bite. And then it goes from there. But you guys get to choose what hooks that you bite on. And, the map is open. You guys can go where you want to go.
It's a sandbox.
I'll put stuff in front of you. And I've never really gotten to play in a game like that, in person or otherwise. Almost all the games that I played in have been fairly tightly controlled affairs, either because... I think I've only played in one campaign that used a module, that used an adventure. But the other ones, it's usually like this is a fairly small setting, and there's kind of a path that we are meant to follow, and we've got some wiggle room inside that and things that we can do, but the world doesn't feel big, which is something that I like when game worlds feel expansive and feel lived in, and you can kind of get a sense of place, and there's wide and varied places for you to go.
Sure.
And things to do and monsters to kill, or people to kill.
People to kill, monsters to kill,
or people that are monsters.
You know what would be fun? I would love to do this in an open world campaign like that. Just turn it into like a farming simulator.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun.
I want to grow corn.
Roll the dice to see how well the day's planting goes. That's just called downtime as a druid.
Oh, shoot. That's a game I don't have now.
What?
Stardew Valley.
I'm sure it's cheap as hell.
It is.
On PSN.
Yeah.
I don't think Stardew's very expensive.
No. And I think it's great that it's like a cheap, like $10 game.
Because it will consume your entire life?
It does consume your entire life, but it goes to a dude.
It just goes to like one dude.
Yeah. Wait, what?
I mean, Sony will take their cut.
Of course.
If you're buying it on PlayStation, but other than that...
It goes to a guy.
Just one guy.
Well, who did all the coding? Well, he did. Well, who did all the design?
He did.
How about the music? He did.
Yeah. It was just one dude for like over the course of a decade made this game. And there are many other projects like that go nowhere.
Right.
And his exploded.
And it's actually great. It's something I will sit there and just stare at for hours.
Yeah. And like it's like a runaway like Minecraft type success story. Where this thing that somebody was just kind of making in their free time absolutely exploded. Where Minecraft kind of blew up fairly early on and has always had a fairly large player base. Nobody knew about Stardew Valley, and then suddenly everybody knew about Stardew Valley. And it was everywhere, and millions of people bought it. And I wonder how much money that guy is worth now.
I hope he's worth a lot.
I hope so.
I hope he put a lot of cash in his pockets.
And it's probably now the sort of thing where it's like, now I can make games that no one will ever play, and I can focus on doing that for the rest of my life. Even if no one ever plays a single other game that I make.
Right.
Doesn't matter. I made all my money. I can make my other games for me.
Hopefully he's got retirement money. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's the story of Stardew Valley. The making of it is intriguing to me.
Fascinating. What's it? Something ape. What is it? I
don't know.
I just know if you poke him in the eye at the beginning of the game, it's fun.
I replayed just a little bit. Before the addiction to Dark Souls took over, I was going to stream some of the Metro series, Metro 2033 and beyond.
Metroid.
The Metroid series.
Yeah.
Metroid 2033. So like Metro 2033 is a franchise, or just the Metro franchise of there's a Russian journalist named Dmitry Glukovsky who wrote these books that started out as like a blog, like a fiction blog.
Yeah.
And then it got really popular, and it became there's a Ukrainian developer called 4A Games that developed a game out of it, and there's been 2 more of those games. And I like all of them. They're rather flawed. There's a fair number of bugs. The combat in the first game especially is extremely clunky.
Really?
They're all first person shooters. Where those games absolutely shine is they have a completely unparalleled sense of atmosphere to them. It is absolutely overwhelmingly immersive when you get into the right moments.
Nice.
In the first game. The gameplay gets a lot more slick as the series goes on. I remember Metro Exodus, which is the latest one, I have replayed it since it came out, but I remember enjoying the gameplay for that quite a bit, especially compared to 2033 and Last Light, which were pretty clunky. But like the basic idea of it is, in 2013, in this setting, there was a nuclear war, and in Moscow, people survived the nuclear war by taking shelter in the metro tunnels.
Right, the subway.
And so now the surface and some of the metro, the surface and some of the metro tunnels are infested with like mutant animals. And there's also like supernatural stuff. There are like ghosts and weird electrical anomalies.
I'd like to read the books.
I have the first one.
Oh, did you?
But the books are kind of a weird experience in and of themselves, because the first one especially, you can tell that it was written as like not strictly serialized blog content that's been turned into a book.
Okay.
Where like people, when the content was being written, it was like, okay, this is episodic and they're loosely connected one to the other. And you would read one month, you would read this chapter 1 month, and then next month you'd come back. But reading them all together as like one experience, it feels kind of weird.
It doesn't really fit together.
It doesn't fit together super seamlessly, to the point where it seems like Artyom, who's the main character, his sort of hero's journey ends up feeling like a series of dozens and dozens of Deus Ex Machina moments of like, oh, Artyom happens to get lucky and this thing comes in and allows him to progress further on, which almost becomes like its own weird form of storytelling. You are sneezy as hell.
I am really, you know what's weird is it happens to me close to 9 o'clock every day now. I don't know what it is.
You're allergic to the evening.
I think I am. I'm allergic to night.
But, no, there's such a series of coincidences that if you line all of them up together as one, it's like, this is completely implausible. But when you consider on top of that some of the overarching themes of the story, all the supernatural stuff that's been going on, it's not as implausible. It's not an extremely grounded story to begin with. So it gets by on that. I will say, I remember reading the book, and it also, like, the games do this very well too, but the book also gives a very strong sense of claustrophobia.
Nice.
Which is appropriate, because it almost all of it takes place in metro tunnels.
Yeah, in a tunnel. Yeah.
And but yeah, the games especially have such a sense of atmosphere to them, especially if you're out on the games really shine, at least the first two ones really shine when you can get away from all the other people. Partially because the English voice acting is kind of awful. The animations are not great. The like all of the stuff when you're surrounded by crowds of people in the metro tunnels is not very good. But once you get away from everybody, then it starts to shine. Once you are isolated and by yourself and just moving from ruined building to ruined building on the surface, looking for gas mask filters, because that's an active gameplay mechanic when you're on the surface, is you have to scrounge for gas mask filters, and every 3 minutes, I think how long they last depends on the difficulty, but every 3 minutes you have to change them.
Oh, geez.
You have to press a button to change your filters. There are certain there's a air gun in the game that you have to basically pump up, and it shoots like ball bearings. I love that weapon, by the way. It's fantastic. There is
it's like a pellet gun.
Yeah, but it's powerful enough to kill somebody.
Sure.
You have like a hand cranked or a squeeze charger essentially for your flashlight.
Yeah. I have one of those.
Your gas mask can get cracked, and the more badly it's damaged, the harder it is to see. It can get covered in like blood or water, and there is a dedicated button to wiping shit off of your gas mask.
Wow.
When you are
almost getting a panic attack hearing about this.
When you are in like the survival horror really is what it is in those segments. When you are in those moments, you are drawn into it like nothing else. It's the atmosphere is absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
But it's a lot of the other moments in the first game especially are really, really rough. It's really, even on mouse and keyboard, the combat does not feel good.
I realized something the other day when you were talking about the Dark Souls games and how they really improved by Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
And you were saying, the first one doesn't really look all that good and it's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And then I saw a video of it and I'm going, you know what? I think 90% of the video games I've played in my lifetime, Kale is going to say don't look good and are clunky because because I looked at it, it looks beautiful to me. It's fine. I mean,
well, I think it is different though, because like I've played a fair amount of older games, and like Halo Combat Evolved came out 2001. Yeah, it doesn't look, the graphics have not aged very well.
Sure. But
it plays really well. There are older games that still play really well. Right. I'm sure the original Half-Life plays fantastic still.
I got my first video game in 1981.
Yes, you can go quite a bit further back.
Yeah.
But like I think it's clunky, and the graphics look bad for different reasons. It's more that Dark Souls, like the graphical fidelity was bad even for its time. There were I was telling you, there are a lot of games that came out in 2011 that look so much better than Dark Souls. I think fucking Crysis 3 came out in 2011. That might have been 2013 actually, but the Crysis 1 came out in 2007 and looks better than most of the games released today. Because I think Crytek has a time machine or access to like alien supercomputers. They used something like that to make that game. They stole fucking quantum computers, experimental quantum computers from Lockheed or some shit.
I think you and I need to play a game of Combat sometime.
Combat. That's from a game from the era when a game could just be called widely used noun.
Yes, Combat. Yes.
What is it?
What is it? Okay, you're a 2D tank, and your opponent is also a 2D tank, and there are some barriers, and you have to fire at the other 2D tank.
So yeah, okay. I'm sure it plays fine.
Well, it does. I mean, and they're great. I mean,
I'm not saying that it like old games are bad or anything like that. I'm just Dark Souls is its own sort of weird. It's its own kind of weird.
Like also when I was a teenager, there was this game about a plumber, and he was sort of an Italian stereotype.
Really?
Yeah. And
was he short, kind of plump, with a mustache?
He most of the time, yeah, but sometimes if he ate a mushroom,
he got bigger. We're not talking about Ron Jeremy, right?
We are not talking about Ron Jeremy. He's still alive, right?
Yes, but I think he might be going to jail for something.
Right.
He definitely did something really bad that came to light, and he's I believe receiving some punishment for that. Either that or his life has gone so off the rails that it doesn't matter whether or not he's getting punishment for it.
Well, I think he's a man who made some weird choices early in life. Yeah. So they didn't blossom from there, I think.
But you were talking about Mario.
What's that?
I don't know. Some weird Japanese game no one's ever heard of.
Let's go. I missed that game. That's a game I want back.
What game?
Mario Kart.
Oh. Did you lose Mario Kart?
I used to play it on the 64.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a 64.
What happened to Mario Kart? How did you lose it?
I may have to go get one of them
emulators.
Well, or a what do they call the Nintendo thing that you buy now?
The Switch.
The Switch, yeah.
The Nintendo Switch.
Because you can play Mario Kart today.
Yeah, you can. It's like last year sometime. I was like, maybe I should buy a Nintendo Switch. Nah. I don't think I would get much use out of it, to be honest.
I'm thinking of two. I play Mario Kart and I play Breath of the Wild. Those are the games that I play on it.
I like mobile handheld gaming is in my adult life has never really appealed to me.
Well, yeah,
and that's the big draw of the Switch.
Is that it's handheld? Well, I mean, I think the games for me.
Well, yeah,
the games that it has.
I mean, like Mario Odyssey and newer Mario Kart and Breath of the Wild and whatnot are a big draw, but for everything else, the staying power of the console is like, you can get all these other games and you can take it anywhere with you, which is, I don't really care.
Right.
I don't go places.
And you don't ride a bus. So, I mean,
I don't leave my apartment except to go to work,
which is like 500 feet from your apartment.
So I don't need this. Right. There is a Switch port for Dark Souls, by the way.
Really?
Which seems wild to me that a game like Dark Souls is on the Nintendo Switch. Just because it feels kind of like the vibe feels kind of incongruous.
With Nintendo.
Yeah.
You know what would have been cool if they would have made it for the Wii?
Dark Souls for the Wii, motion controls.
Yeah, can you imagine that?
Motion control Dark Souls. Somebody has absolutely, and like several people, in fact, have completed Dark Souls on a Guitar Hero controller.
I've played Mortal Kombat on a dance pad.
Honestly, that's probably not the worst way to play it. It
was pretty. Fat guy was sweating.
Okay, it's not the worst way to play it from purely an input perspective.
Right.
Physically, it's probably going to be pretty rough.
It was pretty rough, yeah.
But from a pure input perspective of like, it's a fairly rhythmic kind of game, I would imagine.
But making Scorpion throw his harpoon and say, "Get over here."
It makes you out of breath.
Yeah, your taint is moist by the end of that.
Oh, that was a lot of work to not do a spit take there. Right into the microphone.
Yeah, sorry.
But
not sorry.
But I know you're not. But yeah, I think that would be people have finished Dark Souls on Guitar Hero controllers.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure somebody did it on a dance pad. I think somebody finished Dark Souls via like essentially making a controller out of several wired up orange slices or some shit.
That would be awesome. I would be impressed by that.
I'm almost certain I saw something like that recently where someone had a bunch of like pieces of citrus fruit with, electrodes shoved into them.
Sure.
And just touching them was an input because, they're conductive.
Right.
It's insane, that sort of shit. Who the fuck has that kind of time I don't.
You mean Orange, you in love with Dark Souls?
I am. It's just I like that. I like that sometimes where someone like says something really punny and you just answer genuinely.
Yes.
I like it's a fun move to pull. I enjoy that. Do we want to talk more about Mizmor? Yeah. So if you had not listened to our previous episode about Mizmor, I'd suggest it. Scroll through the feed and look for Cairn. But the basic idea of...
She's asking for the manager.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that Cairn over there? And the Baltimore accident all of a sudden. Mizmor is a solo project by a guy who goes by the initials ALN that was sort of born out of attempting to do something with the religious anguish he was feeling at the time. He was a relatively kind of devout Christian who was struggling with his faith, was losing it, and then lost it. And there was a lot of emotion tied up with that, and needed something creative to do with it. And so he started making that first demo, and he showed it to someone, and they're like, "This is really good. You should put this online." And he kind of thought nobody was going to enjoy it, and people enjoyed it, and so he kept on making and releasing stuff, but I think he said in interviews more or less that, it doesn't really matter to him if anybody listens to it. He's making the stuff that he wants to make, and, doing what feels true to him.
Mizmor means psalm.
Yes, it means psalm in Hebrew. I assume Yodh is Hebrew as well, but I didn't look up what that means. I didn't look up what that means,
no. This guy lives in the American Northwest, by the way.
He lives in Washington, I think, or somewhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, Seattle area.
The Seattle area. Yodh. What does Yodh mean? Yodh, Hebrew meaning. It's the 10th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, as it would seem.
But he hasn't made 10 albums.
No. Let's see.
Maybe he's comparing this to Pearl Jam's big breakthrough record.
Perhaps.
10.
Let's see. Yeah, it seems to just be, I'm sure it has some spiritual meaning. The top result is Hebrew for Christians. What does that entail? Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's weird. I don't know. It's the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It represents the spiritual, all which is beyond the physical.
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
There we go. Yodh. But this is so good.
It is. It's very tasty.
This is the guitar tone is fantastic on this.
Oh, it's what and the thing is that I know it's 5 songs and over 50 minutes of music.
Yes.
And the thing is you almost don't really know where songs because within songs the dynamic is just so it's like it's like a Godspeed You Black Emperor album, right,
where a single track is going to have several songs in it or movements or whatever you want to call it. It's almost orchestral, right, in the way that it's put together.
Yeah, he manages to okay, I'm listening to doom metal, but there's tremolo picking over it.
Yeah.
The fuck? This is... Then how's he doing this?
And then in a few seconds, it's going to fade and we're going to have an acoustic part.
Yeah.
And it's the sheer amount of talent on display in the playing of all the instruments,
right, and
in the recording of the vocals.
Yeah.
It is insane. It's nuts how good this guy is at everything. And that's, black metal has a very long tradition of one-man bands, one guy doing all the parts. There's a very long tradition of that in black metal.
Right. Like Louis.
Yeah, yes, like Mr. Louis Cachet, or a less controversial like Austin Lunn from Panopticon.
Yes. He's much less controversial.
Less controversial person.
Seems like a really nice guy.
Varg Vikernes. It's not hard to be much less controversial than Varg Vikernes.
All I have to do is not murder or be a Nazi.
Yeah. I don't think we. Hey, next week?
Yeah.
Can we go the entire episode without mentioning Varg?
It's Black Metal January.
I know. But can we try?
All right.
Because we always talk about
He's just
Varg.
so interesting.
He's a fun villain.
Yeah, he is a fun villain.
He's a fun villain.
He's a bad guy.
He's just a bad dude, and you can feel okay for hating him.
You can feel okay for hating him, and then you listen to like Burzum, and you go, but
it's good though. God damn it. Why couldn't you make bad music?
Yeah.
Like the rest of the people in the band you were in?
It really sucks how many throughout history, how many great artists were the worst people.
Just terrible people. Well,
like that painter back in the 20s and 30s. What was his name? Adolf Hitler.
I was genuinely confused with where you were going with that for a moment. I don't know why that didn't occur to me, but I mean, I think there's something to be said for, there's been how many studies showing that a lot of people who are highly intelligent tend to have kind of volatile personalities. Tend to be more prone to substance abuse,
be a sociopath, and
that sort of thing. There's a lot of correlations there.
I think there's a
people who are highly intelligent or highly talented.
There's a great ability for people to get their art produced if they're really fucking into themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you believe in yourself too much.
And psychopaths tend to believe in themselves.
Yeah. There tends to be some confidence that comes with being a raging psychopath.
Yeah.
And if you're confident enough and persistent enough, there's very little that you can't do.
I know.
And also, if you completely lack any morals whatsoever,
right,
doing things gets a lot easier when that silly old conscience doesn't get in the way.
So the people who get famous and get big with their shit,
they don't care how many people they stepped on to get there.
Right. And that's why they're there.
Yeah. That's how you end up with billionaires.
Yeah.
But
fuck you and your bookstore, Walden Books and B. Dalton. I'm bald and I'm going to space.
I'm Jeff. It's my birthday.
I wonder how many people call him El Jefe. I wonder.
El Jefe. Yeah.
El Jefe.
It is his birthday today.
That's true. It is. He's 58?
He's 58 years old. Jeff Bezos is 58.
Remember, he's 10 years older than I am.
Yes. And well, OJ, you've got 10 years. You've got 10 years to become the richest man on earth.
I'm not going to live that long.
Oh, come on.
And I would never be the richest man on earth. That could never happen to me.
You have too many morals.
I don't have that personality, right? If somehow I get $1 billion, I'm like, oh man, think of all the fucking people I could help with this.
How can I divide this up in the most useful way?
Right.
How can I give all of this to somebody that can do something good with it? Because I'm stupid.
He has $300 billion. What the fuck are you going to do with that? I can
sit on it like a goddamn dragon.
I can see wanting to be rich. I can totally get that.
Yeah.
You want to be wealthy. You want to have a nice house. You want to be comfortable. You want your children and your children's children to be comfortable. $300 billion is
way more than you need.
Yeah.
Way more than you need. Yeah, like we're getting way in the weeds.
We are here.
But like, I think the most that I would possibly need, I think $10 million. If I had $10 million and just keep on living more or less the life that I'm living right now.
Yeah.
Maybe buy a house, a nice house.
Sure.
It's not falling apart.
Right. A decent house in a nice neighborhood.
Yeah.
And not in a big city. Maybe here in Minot.
Yeah. And however much money that earns me every year.
Yeah.
Recoup whatever I spent.
Uh-huh.
And then give the rest away. Like if sitting on that $10 million, if that's earning me more money,
right? If that's
much
earning you retirement, I mean, that's going to sustain you until death. Here's the thing, though. I mean, in order for me to retire at a decent age,
yes,
like a retirement age, I'm going to need more than $1 million to do that. I will never retire. That's never going to happen.
$1 million doesn't go very far these days.
There was a song back in the 90s by a Canadian band.
Yes.
Called If I Had $1 Million.
I would pay most of my bills. Not all of my bills, you see.
The last line is I'd be rich, but yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
No, you would not.
You'd be
upper middle class, maybe.
Upper middle class, sure. Yeah. And the thing is not if I made $1 million, it's if I had $1 million. Right. If somebody gave you $1 million, that's not going to last forever.
And I feel like at this point, all the members of the Bare Naked Ladies, probably minus Stephen Page, I think they've all got $1 million.
Possibly. What happened to Stephen Page?
He left the band to pursue an acting career. Cocaine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You mean he did a cover of that Eric Clapton song?
Yeah.
Anyway, do you think Yodh by Mizmor slaps?
Hell yes, often.
Yes, often and a lot.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's like, bro.
Sometimes it pulls the fucking rug out from under you. Yeah.
Let's slow down.
And sometimes it does the slow down at the same time as slapping.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love the kind of music that is made by someone who is extremely talented and also is not really working with much restriction.
Right. They're innovative.
There are some people who are extremely talented that, are under a record deal where they have to make a certain kind of music. And there are some people who are not very talented and have no restrictions and make awful things that are bad to listen to or see. And then there's the happy middle ground of somebody who's very talented and gets to make whatever they want.
Right.
And does it competently.
Right.
And Mizmor is sitting perfectly in that middle ground of, and also is making music that I like.
Yeah.
Like this is.
I will listen to this again.
This is so much in my wheelhouse. It has so many things that I enjoy. It's atmospheric. It's emotional.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a subheading under emotional, but it's emotional and depressing. It's doomy. It's got black metal. It's got so much atmosphere to it. There's so much about Mizmor that I truly love. It's like a perfect cross section of a lot of the things I love about metal.
And this takes you out of your here so well that I was listening to it earlier today. Like I said, I was playing Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
That people showed up at my home and I was like, I can't. But I had to. I had to be like, okay, I'm gonna stop being here and be
here. A real person again for a bit.
I have to pretend to be human for a moment
before I go back into the Mizmor world.
Yeah, it was great. It was an immersive experience.
It pulls you in. It's a great album. What's your? I didn't really look up. I did a cursory search for reviews. There's not a lot of like official reviews from big publications that I was able to come across.
Sure.
I think Cairn got more attention from bigger publications, your Sputniks, your Pitchforks, etc.
Loudwire.
But this one, I don't think it was very well regarded when it came out, but I don't think it got a lot of official attention from those publications.
Right.
So I don't know, where this would fall on a scale of 1 to 100, according to other people. But what's your favorite song?
I think Serpent Eats Its Tail is possibly my favorite.
That is, let's see, because they all have, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
That is
track
number 3.
Right.
Yeah, I think that one's fantastic. I really like the closer.
Oh yeah, it was great. Absolutely great. I mean, it was almost instrumental until like 6 minutes in.
Yeah. And there's a lot of a lot of the acoustic stuff on there. There's almost melody in there, and like Cairn does have some melody in it, or at the very least the chords sound a little bit sweeter. Everything's a little bit warmer. And the last track, which is Bask in the Lingering.
Yes.
5, Bask in the Lingering. Gets close to it just kisses the edge of that. Right. And I really enjoy that, but there's a lot that I absolutely love on the rest of this album. This is a fantastic album. And I'm glad that I also like came across this, not by chance necessarily, but I was watching the guys from Mirror Reaper were in their record.
They probably know this dude.
I don't know if they did. Because
I feel like they're from the same. Aren't they from the same area? Or
I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I don't know. Maybe they've met him. Maybe they haven't. It from memory, it sounded like maybe they weren't personally familiar with him, but. One of the band members, I think I want to say it was Desmond or Dylan Desmond, the bassist. And
right. The stringed instrument player.
Yes. He picked out this album because they were at I think that it's like their record label's record store.
Oh, sure.
Where they have like all the vinyl and stuff.
And they did a What's in My Bag kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, it was like a What's in My Bag sort of thing.
Sorry, my favorite one of those is always going to be Ackerfeld. I mean,
yeah, Michael Ackerfeld doing the What's in My Bag.
Yeah,
it's all ABBA. Yeah, it was all ABBA basically. From memory, most of which he already had. He just wanted more copies.
Right. Well, and he was talking about, I also bought the White Album. I already own 38 copies of the White Album, but they are numbered, so I needed this one.
Yeah, I love Michael Ackerfeld so much. I like the cattle decapitation episode of What's in My Bag.
Because the guitar player's like all this death metal and thrash metal. And
Travis Ryan he had like fucking show tunes in there, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he had stuff that was like none of the stuff in his bag was metal. I mean, it was all
Travis Ryan he's a treasure.
Duran here.
he's a treasure. Travis Ryan.
He's 37 now. Oh no, I'm sorry, 47.
I was gonna say he's not that young.
No, he's a year younger than me.
Yes, but
my birthday in less than a month. God, I can't believe I'm still alive.
Oh God. What on that note, what medal are you bestowing upon Yodh by Mizmor, like Maskanada to Chewbacca?
As I said, I would listen to this again. Therefore, it gets a gold.
I absolutely agree. This gets a gold from me. This is fantastic. If you like black metal, if you like kind of depressive doom metal, give this a shot.
If you like to see the world in very dark shades of gray, this is your thing.
This is your thing. I remember I think it was a song from Cairn, but I was listening like over and over again. I was listening to Emptiness by Gatecreeper, and I was talking to you at work, and I was just like, I want something that kind of continues this vibe. And then I found Mizmor,
right?
And it didn't exactly necessarily fit specifically what I was looking for, or what I thought I was looking for, what I thought I wanted.
Right.
But I sent you a text after I got home, and the text just read, "This is the vibe."
Yep.
And it was one of the songs from Cairn. And yeah, I'm so glad that I came across Mizmor, because I think he's a fantastic artist. That ALN.
He is.
Makes some really good shit. So next week, what are you thinking of? We already talked about this last week, I'm pretty sure, but we want to reiterate it.
I changed my mind.
You changed your mind.
I've changed my mind because upon listening to the album that I was thinking about bringing for Black Metal January,
kind of didn't fit the bill.
It doesn't fit the bill. I mean, it's something that
even for like early first wave black metal.
I mean, it influenced black metal. I would love for you to hear the album at some point. But if we're doing black metal, I feel like I'd like to stick to like some really known blackmail artists.
Yeah. You know, like,
I've got your daughter. I'm going to send you her thumb.
I know what you did.
So
give me $3 million.
So I've decided that next week, and actually an album that I listened to and I really enjoyed.
Okay.
Called Nemesis Divina
by
Satiricon.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I think if I remember correctly, Satiricon might have some. There might be some political things there in the weeds.
A bit, and it's one of those things too where they started out more black metal than they ended.
Yeah. So
this is from 1996. So
I didn't even realize they'd been around for that long.
Yeah.
I thought they were kind of a newer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm willing to give it a listen.
All right.
And sort of check it out. I think I've heard vague murmurings of the people involved kind of not being super chill, but
that's black metal.
That's so much black metal. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find somebody who's got a clean bill of health.
Right.
But I'll give it a listen. Until then, why don't you find our social media pages on Facebook and on Twitter? Give those a follow, and we'll post episode links when they premiere, and you can listen to them on your browser.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, see?
All right.
And also download that newfangled Apple Podcast app.
Oh, my, it's probably hard on your dial-up phone. On your teletype, it's right there. You just tap it in, go tap it, and now you got the podcast.
Completely unintelligible.
You're welcome.
So yeah, we're also, of course, on your Apple Podcast app on your iOS device, or you can find the Podcast Source app from Libsyn. You could probably find that in your app store if you have an iOS device, or if you have
an anus.
An anus. Yep, we're in your butthole.
We're in your buttholes.
We're in your buttholes. You can find us in the find that app in the Google Play Store, and then find us on that app.
Sure.
Because that's how that works. Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Metals Podcast. I'm Cale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.